Hi there, the COVID-19 global pandemic has accelerated China's rise towards becoming a global superpower, rivaling the United States in becoming the world's biggest economy. This video will discuss the possible challenges that China needs to overcome, with a particular focus on the long-term debt cycle, trade wars, technological innovation, geopolitics, controlling currency money flows, culture, and the importance of military presence. It is clear that if China continues on their current trajectory and continues to manage and control their potential challenges as per their China 2035 plan, such as switching away from non-renewable power sources and producing structural reforms to encourage trade, they have a very strong chance at becoming a world economic superpower. The long-term debt cycle. The long-term debt cycle occurs every 75 years and is typically when a new form of money is created for society to use. The previous cycle occurred in 1945, as mentioned by Ray Dalio. The long-term debt cycle shows that the United States of America is currently in decline due to the huge amount of stimulus spending and money printing that has devalued the US dollar as shown here. What's surprising is that 1 in 5 US dollars was created in 2020 alone. The United States of America is illustrated as being in decline and is falling as a global power, like the United Kingdom that was in decline before it. The United States of America has a large amount of debt burden due to the coronavirus pandemic, and is printing money, devaluing the currency. This contrasts with China, which has been able to grow economically due to the financing of cheap debt. This has also increased due to the recent coronavirus outbreaks. China currently operates in a mixed economy, which means that China can impose lockdowns and enforce them much faster and more effectively than the United States and Europe. This has allowed China to recover and reopen their economy much faster than the United States and Europe. As a result of this, China is able to continue in their growth trajectory, thereby increasing its productivity. And according to the BBC, China was able to grow their economy by 2.3% despite the pandemic. Trade wars. When the Trump administration were previously in office, they had an American-first attitude, which imposed a large amount of tariffs towards Chinese goods. As a result of this, the Chinese retaliated with their own tariffs, and this America-first attitude has also resulted in a global alliance shift away from America. Unfortunately, this retaliation approach caused billions of dollars of trade being lost for both parties as a result of the tariffs. The US and Chinese economies are very intertwined due to America's consumerism culture and China being an efficient producer of goods and services. However, as China develops, they themselves are becoming more consumerist in nature, particularly for overseas premium branded goods. China considers trade important, and due to this, China has resurrected their Belt and Road Initiative, which aims to decrease the cost of doing trade and to spur economic development around the world. The Belt and Road Initiative helps to explain how China plans to decrease its dependency on the United States for their exports. This will make China more self-sufficient and encourage trade with the neighboring regions. The plan is split into two sections, the Maritime Road and an Economic Belt, which is the global infrastructure development strategy to promote trade. This also has the side effect of making China more powerful, as it is able to assert more dominance towards smaller neighboring countries, due to strengthened economic ties between neighboring countries as a result of the economic trade increase. China's Belt and Road Initiative will increase China's influence abroad and may potentially increase the use of the Chinese yuan in those countries. As a result of these measures, funded by an increasing amount of economic debt, previous allies such as Australia are growing more skeptical of China. Globally, political pressure is being pursued to investigate China due to its poor initial handling of the coronavirus pandemic, as China refused to close airports and continued to export both people and products from the Wuhan region. Chinese state policies have allowed China to become a leading export machine. Exporting most of the world's computers, plant, and machinery has made China become a capitalist country with Chinese ideologies. Moreover, China has created an unfair level playing field for foreign companies that enter the Chinese market through the provision of Chinese state-backed loans, which are creating a debt bubble within the Chinese economy. The challenge for China remains balancing the debt whilst continuing to achieve sustainable economic growth without creating an unsustainable debt load. The coronavirus pandemic has increased the number of corporations who have moved their operations out of China into more cost-effective countries such as Vietnam. An example would be Apple, who have relocated production of their iPads and MacBooks. This could continue as skepticism of China continues to grow. China must incentivize companies to remain operating in China to facilitate continued long-term economic growth. Controlling currency. The United States has enjoyed being the world's reserve currency to date, and after World War II continues to have a huge amount of power and therefore influence over the world. China needs to dethrone the US dollar with the Chinese yuan in order for the Chinese economy to have similar globalized benefits. However, dethroning the US dollar will remain a very difficult endeavor. The US dollar makes the United States powerful because it can print the world's reserve currency, and the United States would lose a significant amount of power if it lost this status to the Chinese yuan. China is currently in the process of creating a digital yuan and is experimenting with cryptocurrencies, which they hope will accelerate the decline of the US dollar and transfer some global power towards China. Getting the digital yuan globally accepted still remains a challenge. The Chinese government tends to engage with a large amount of interventionist policies that do not allow for free market forces to take place. For example, the Chinese yuan currency has been loosely pegged to the US dollar since 1994, which makes Chinese exports much cheaper and, as a result, more likely to be bought by neighboring countries and the USA. The limitation of China doing this, however, is that China is very reliant on the US dollar, and furthermore, China limits access for other countries to enter China's lucrative market. Even though they are considered a free market economy, there are clearly some communist protectionist ideologies that exist. Much of the Chinese yuan leaves China through Macau and Hong Kong through the casinos, with young Chinese nationals fleeing China in search of a better life abroad. Technological innovation. The Chinese government has been stealing intellectual property from foreign rivals once they enter the market to promote unfair competition, which gives Chinese firms an advantage. An example of this would be XPeng, a Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer that stole Tesla's knowledge for the development of self-driving cars, according to Elon Musk. If China is able to beat the United States in regards to technology, then China will develop a huge natural advantage to win both the economic and military war over a longer-term time horizon, especially if its 15-year blueprint called the China 2035 plan succeeds. With China developing special areas such as the Greater Bay Area to compete with areas such as the Bay Area in the United States, it is noted that the coronavirus pandemic has slowed down the United States' lead in the technological advancement area. For example, the United States is falling behind in 5G technology, whereas China is very much ahead. The USA is still ahead in artificial intelligence, but the question is, for how long? Currently, China already has dedicated technology hubs such as Shenzhen. China has created megacities as well, in collaboration with Singapore, called the Sino-Singapore Guangzhou Knowledge City. This technology advantage demonstrates how serious China is towards becoming a technological and social structure to facilitate development of innovation in the technological space, as it attempts to develop areas to become economically prosperous. Geopolitics and military control. In regards to global geopolitics, the United States of America has slowly been losing influence in the Southeast Asian region, especially due to the Trump administration's American First policies. This has created uncertainty in the smaller countries that neighbor China, making them feel more threatened by China's rising economic superpower status. As a result, many countries have different tunes to China. The views towards China are affected by geography, history, ideology, and economic interests of the countries that border China. Cambodia, for example, sees China as a protector, whereas the Vietnamese see China as a rising threat. China is stirring up uncertainty within the Southeast Asian region, as it continues to attempt to set up military bases in the Western Pacific and Pakistan in order to further its Belt and Road Initiative. China currently holds a majority of the world's production capacities for popular consumer products. An example would be the Apple iPhone, due to the combination of China's geographic proximity to neighboring countries such as Japan, which supply the cameras of the iPhone, and South Korea, which produces the memory storage. It is clear that only China can produce huge quantities of iPhones that are needed in a short span of time, due to its close proximity to these island nations and well-educated workforce. This reinforces that geographic proximity is an important factor that provides China with huge leverage and influence over the foreign companies that operate there, China continues towards developing its land, sea, and air military in its attempt to become a global world superpower. With continuous border disputes involving China, India says that China has continually provoked military tensions at the border involving Tibet. China is trying to develop a network ecosystem of trade, and with this will come political control and a certain element of military control, culture, and people. China has a unique way of being run, as governmentally it is run from a top-down model from a centralized person of power, a controlled economy with elements of capitalism. For the Chinese collective, stability of the whole is incredibly important. The Chinese Communist Party is not a democracy, which allows it to move faster during situations such as during a pandemic environment. People in China follow Taoist philosophies, and the people are much more collectivist in nature according to Hofstede's cultural insights. This is one reason as to why China refuses to adopt the United States way of thinking in regards to border disputes and democracy. The Chinese believe in their hierarchical organizational structure. This isn't to say that all of China is obedient. China has split internal thinking with Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. China considers Hong Kong in particular a country that has gone rogue, as they do not follow the China Communist Party's way of thinking. There remains huge inequalities within China due to the sudden gain in wealth from the transformation of China's economy. China has issues that are similar to a developing country rather than a developed global superpower at the current moment. For example, China couldn't keep its electricity on in its major cities due to a shortage in coal, a non-renewable resource. China will struggle to become a global superpower if it cannot handle the daily necessities and basic needs of its citizens. Additionally, China has more people in poverty than the entire US population, which is not a very good look on the global stage for a growing economy, especially as China really cares about their global image on the world stage, and this will need to change. Conclusion. As the world becomes more interconnected, China continues to grow and become a huge global superpower. It is clear that China is ascending in the chart of the long-term debt cycle, whilst the USA is descending in regards to monetary terms. In order to continue in the trajectory towards becoming a global power by 2028, China needs to focus on limiting the future trade wars and on increasing adoption and usage of innovation within the technological space, whilst preserving capital expenditures. It is clear that China has a long-term mindset and are following their ideologies that stem from their communistic roots. However, it needs to find a balance between following what they know and adapting their mindsets to an uncertain future, while simultaneously not creating an unreasonable amount of debt. This will allow for more future prosperity for both China and its neighboring regions, which will result in increased dominance for China over the following years. If you enjoyed this type of video, please subscribe and let me know in the comment section below what you would like to watch next.